This is the best of VOCM Open Line with Brian Callahan.
Right to line number 6, and Dan Mattig, the president of Canadians for Affordable Energy and former member of Parliament for Pickering, Scarborough East. You're on the air.
Well, here we are. Yes, it's been a few years since I was in politics, but glad to be able to find life after that. And
yes.
Of course, we've seen some pretty interesting moves here in pump prices, especially in Newfoundland, where you hit 210, but you're down to the 185 range, 183 range. So that's not a bad situation considering the 90 days of war and tensions.
No, and for a lot of people, Dan, and thanks for making time for the show today, by the way. I know you're not busy these days. It seems counterintuitive when you think about it. It seems that anything, positive statement out of the White House these days can affect the price of gas, and fuel prices because, this morning again, yesterday we're talking about, and 14 cents now it's dropped here in the metro area in St. John's in this week alone. So people are looking at it and going like, the war's not over. There's vessels reportedly not moving through Hormuz right now, the Strait of Hormuz, although there may be some and they have their transponders turned off. Make sense of this. Is it strictly just, some positive statements about, we're near a peace deal? Is that what's actually triggering these downward trends?
That's all it is. We've had 6 of these announcements over the past 90 days. With 0 agreements, with 0 deals. So,
right.
And we're still hearing Trump not saying he does, whether he agrees with the latest round, which his vice president says they're very close to, but it's really up to Trump. I'm not sure what the game is, but I can say this. In all my years of, analyzing energy and energy prices, their impact on our country, I've never seen a situation where you have a dramatic historical drop in supply of oil. And yet you have prices dropping, even sustaining even higher demand. There is something that is happening afoot that people need to know. It's called short selling, and that's exactly what not just investors, but in fact the U.S. Department, the Treasury Department, is involved with trying to bring oil down so it doesn't have the big impact that it would otherwise have with Americans. They're not going to tolerate $4 or $5 a gallon, and the same way that it's very difficult for Canadians. Where we have to really look at is what can Canada do, and part of the solution is right off your coast. We need to get Bay du Nord and many of those projects back up and running, as if this crisis didn't tell us the big story, which is Newfoundland can be a part of the world solution here in terms of getting good energy back to global markets.
Yeah, and some countries are managing to find unique ways. We know that Great Britain, England, some European countries are unlocking sanctions against Russia, and they're accepting Russian fuel, Russian oil right now, again, bit by drip, easily easing into that because it's not a good look. We know that, but they're doing what they have to do. And I'm also wondering, Dan, in my mind, I'm thinking, this could, again, be very temporary. Let's say a deal, already they've shown they can control it just by controlling the message out of the White House. And you talk about Bay du Nord, of course, there's going to still be that need. But I don't know if it could be linked right to the immediate need and crisis that we're seeing right now, is it?
No, but for Canadians, it's really important to understand that
for the future.
Our taking 10 years of saying there's no business case, which of course there was, and saying, we'll do other things has meant a weak Canadian dollar. Mm-hmm. Let me put it in perspective. 138.2 or 138.4 pennies, Canadian pennies, to buy $1 US adds almost 40 cents a litre to the price of gasoline. And I want to repeat that. 40 cents because the Canadian dollar is weak, because no one believes Canada has the potential eventually to come to the world's rescue in this kind of circumstance. That doesn't mean that prices will fall and make it somewhat uneconomic, but the lesson of this hard reality of this energy shock is that Canada needs to step up to the plate and get its oil. It doesn't matter where it is, how you get it to market, just do it, because Canadians are suffering, and I think it's a necessary reason. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've never seen a circumstance where we didn't get back the petro-loonie, which defended us. As oil prices went through the roof, gasoline, diesel, jet fuel went through the roof. We had a bit of a hedge. The Canadian dollar would also rise to meet the challenge. Do you know in 2012, 2013, when we had the takeover, the knocking out of Libya, where it was a UN action, NATO action at the time, the Canadian dollar was stronger than the U.S. greenback. What does that mean? Well, it restores the purchase power of every single Canadian, and that's, to me, don't just think gasoline here. Think of what it's doing to food prices and every other commodity that we price that is always priced in U.S. terms. We need to find ways to get and make those project announcements immediately. And I don't think it's a question of spending some time saying, yeah, we have to check every cross every T and dot every I. I think Canadians need to hear some substantial moves by governments to say we're going to make these projects happen. We have a prime minister who said he would make these happen in lightning speed, at speeds we hadn't seen since the Second World War. Look, we need to do it. And now the crisis is here. There's never a better time.
Yeah, I was just going to say, clearly it's not lost on the prime minister, and whether it's the agreement just inked with Germany for LNG, or whether it's, as you said, Bay du Nord, or even talk of pipelines. There are more than enough barriers there. It's a fascinating dance that they have to make right now. There's a lot of walking and chewing gum at the same time by a lot of people, hey?
But I think there's a lot of reasons why the experiment of the past 10 years has been to overregulate and say no and find excuses to say no. I think Canadians understand that, but the balance has to happen, and we need to get that pendulum back where it used to be, somewhere in the middle. In which you can make both sides happy, but for goodness sake, the prosperity of the country. There are many projects that are out there. The world needs more Canadian oil. They want it. It's said they want it, and they're willing to pay the money for it. But it really, I'm in Ontario. It really annoys me that a lot of natural gas we're selling to the United States is going in LNG, coming back to Europe, and saving the rest of the world at a time in which it's there is a crisis. And of course, it doesn't. The look isn't good that we have to. Have Europeans now, coming back cap in hand to the Russians to say, okay, we're removing those sanctions because we need your oil. The world is going to need more hydrocarbons. I don't care if it's natural gas or LNG or oil or diesel or jet fuel. For the next 50 to 100 years, we've made the point. We want to make it cleaner. We want to do better. But you can't do it by pretty much destroying, the ability for Canadians to make ends meet. And we're all struggling. Everyone is feeling it. Yep. There's no one who's been immune from this. I think governments could make a real strong. I'll tell you this. I'll wager this. A government of Canada makes an announcement, says the pipeline is going to be built. We're going to start it now. We think it'll be built in 3 or 4 years, as they do in the rest of the world. I can guarantee you that Canadian dollar will start to match the U.S. greenback, and we'll have a lot more money in our jeans at the end of the day. Yeah,
it'll open the eyes of investors maybe, and maybe their pocketbooks. But there's still that juggernaut. We saw Stephen Guilbeault's move this week, in direct response, to the change in stance. The push to hydrocarbons, push to pipelines, the push to LNG. That's always going to be a barrier. Do you think that will it continue to foil the plans that you just pointed out?
Well, it means that if we continue down that road, it is going to lead to even greater despair. And I'm not here to be hypercritical. I mean, I drive a hybrid vehicle. I try to do the best I can. We all try to do what's right, not just by the environment, but my God, we can't do it by stifling ourselves. The lineups at food banks are going through the roof. We know that Canadians are falling behind because they can't make ends meet. We know the price of food is increasing at levels that are unprecedented. I'm not saying this is all due to climate programs, but we need to put a major pause on net zero. I call it nix net zero, because those policies that are saying, we got a few $1 trillion, we can throw electrification, we can have everybody driving electric vehicles, many of them from China, and we can suddenly imagine that we have a world in which we don't need fossil fuels. Well, that's not the real world. And what I think has been driven home here by the international energy crisis, whoever caused it or however it's come about is for other people to decide from a partisan point of view. But the reality is that Canada, with the largest provable reserves of energy and other resources in the world, failed to meet the challenge, and it can no longer do that. I understand why Mr. Guilbeault has left. It's not 2015 anymore. It's 2026. We've gone through this experiment. It's been very costly and damaging to Canadians and to prosperity and for optimism for the next generation. I've never seen this happen. I mean, I've been around a little while, but never have we seen one generation not do better than the previous one. I think you have to go back to the Depression to recall a time where that didn't happen. But generally speaking, we're looking at a major step backwards. If we don't get our oars in the water, rowing in the same direction, getting all of our forms of energy out there, we're going to have a nation that's going to have a real economic problem, not just with people not finding work, but a lack of interest in investment in Canada. but debts that we can't manage. And I think that's where the key and the solution is simple. Announce a few pipelines, a few LNG projects, make sure that they're underway. Investors will have to come in because they got to start pouring money back into Canada. And I can pretty much assure you that those inflationary woes that we were worried about and the value of the Canadian dollar and the overall momentum in our economy would certainly pick up, and it would pick up, I wouldn't say overnight, but a lot quicker than this war is going to end in Iran. Yeah,
you mentioned the investors. We've got to clean up the situation in Alberta, too. That has to be a more palatable jurisdiction for investors to be able to, because that Alberta plays no small part in all of what you just said. Dan, I'm well past break, but I just wanted to, that's a lot of deep in the weeds, well, not in the weeds, but, general talk about the situation in general. What are you seeing for gas prices over the next week or so? If there's any way.
We had a 2% increase overnight.
Yeah.
So tonight, and by the way, hats off to the PUB. They did the right thing. Every single day they're giving gas price changes. It's more predictable that way. So prices are up 2 cents a liter tomorrow, but on Sunday they should drop about 2 cents a liter.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go right along to line number 5. And caller, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian.
How are you?
Not too bad. I'm a trades worker, too, now with the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. I'm an electrician,
Sure.
And I'm calling on Minister Barry Penn and Finance Minister Craig Pardy to correct this wrong now that they've created in our workplace, Basically, they are giving a market factor adjustment of $24,000 annually to the mechanics. Heavy equipment operators are getting $14,600 annually. All the other trades like myself, electricians, welders, power engineers, carpenters are getting nothing, Mm-hmm. So, look, basically, my take is we are all trades workers. We were always paid equally, and basically what the government is doing now is they're tearing us apart, by doing this.
Well, yeah, that's what happens when you have those disparities in the workplace. Absolutely.
Definitely. And I would also like to basically put a call out to our NAPE president, Jerry Earl, to speak on our behalf on this issue. Like, I'm after calling our reps, and basically the last couple of years now, or last year and a half, basically keeping quiet, getting the runaround, trying to deal with it the appropriate way. Mm-hmm. But basically we're being told basically to keep quiet.
Yeah, we have a call into Jerry on this, Jerry Earl with the NAPE, because of the calls such as similar to this one, as you know, that we've had over the last few days about this, the difference in the shop for transportation works. And as we had a caller yesterday noted, it goes beyond just transportation and the roads. It goes into every aspect of infrastructure with the provincial government, whether you have welders or others working in the same place and making significantly different amounts of money. And that's one thing, but then they have these top-ups, and some get them and some don't. It does kind of ring kind of odd to me that several of these employees, such as yourself, are bypassing the union and coming right to Open Line and calling on the ministers. And as you said, you'd like to hear from NAPE. I would too, to find out what they're doing, because there has been suggestion by some of the callers, such as yours, on the same subject this week, that they're not getting the support they want from the union. Is that the case in this situation?
Yes, definitely. Like I said, I'm to a very high frustrated point, basically, because, like I said, we're in the collective bargaining now, as a trades worker, and basically, like you said, we got the same people in our bargaining group with MOS. We got the mechanics and we got the operators. They both got this increase, and they are the majority of our group, And basically, whatever the union brings back to us now, basically, they're going to vote yes for it, because they are already getting $24,000, and the operators are already getting $14,600, and basically it is very unfair. Yeah,
and as we discussed again yesterday with another caller on this topic, that it's strength in numbers, right? I mean, if you're going to have a vote on it, the numbers that are getting the raise are obviously going to vote in favor, and the others are the minority, and they won't, and that's just going to cause more animosity, more loss of morale, more loss of just a desire to do the job, and that's bad, because there's safety involved here for not just the public, but for the workers themselves.
Yes, and like I said, and I got another point now I'd like to make,
yes,
that I've only heard basically this week. I don't know if it's 100% true, but I'm going to put it out there anyway.
Sure, bye.
As basically a trades worker too, under our job profile description, which basically government done a few years back under the JES, we're basically called now trades workers too, which includes electricians, plumbers, and building mechanical. Basically, I was told a week now that they're going to bring the building mechanical up and give them basically a job factor adjustment, market factor adjustment, and basically are looking at not giving it to us, and basically we're under the same job profile. 3 of these trades are basically under trades worker too, and if they does that, that's going to be the straw that broke the camel's back for me, I'm going to basically have to quit my job,
I can appreciate that. If that is, now again, we should caution that that's not...
Yeah, caution, that's why I said I'm 100% not true.
Yep.
Not, like I said, I haven't got it clarified, but like I said, I had an area manager tell me last year that they were going to do this, and I expressed him basically my opinion to him, and like you said, told him what I thought of it basically, because it's very unfair,
But it's certainly on the surface. I'm not in the shop, I'm not doing the job, and I'm not there on the front line like you are to witness it every day, and the passing of each worker back and forth, and just knowing that underneath it all, you're all like kind of some are resenting others, and it shouldn't even be that. You're not resenting the employees next to you. It shouldn't come to that.
No, exactly.
It's the powers that be that are pulling the levers and the strings on this. And again, the NAPE president has to get somewhere in front of this and give us just a little explanation, just so that we understand where it's all coming from, and so you understand. I mean, that should be your first line of defense, right?
Exactly, yes. Another point I got there too now, like you said, if they're so interested in basically recruitment and retention, as of right now, basically, they give this market factor adjustment to basically the mechanics, and like you said, of 24,000, basically they included their foremans. The foremans basically that is above these, basically they got it because I guess they figure, you know what I mean, they were supposed to get a percentage above them, so they included them. The poor mechanic apprentice, like you said, they never included MA, which to me, that's unbelievable. Why they wouldn't include a mechanic apprentice if you're trying to basically recruit to get journeyman? You start out as an apprentice, But the more I thought about that, like you said, I guess I come to the conclusion that if they included the apprentices, they basically, then a first-year apprentice as a mechanic would be getting basically $4 or $5 an hour, basically, more than Hollywood as a journeyman electrician. So I guess they figured that might have been looked a little bit too bad. So I guess they figured, we got to keep the apprentices out of it. Yeah,
there is a level of baseline seniority and skill that I'm sure plays into this. I mean, people who have more experience, more work, tougher jobs, if you will, management jobs, they have more responsibility, more years punched. I mean, that goes to figure. But again, like the lack of communication here is this has been an issue now bandied about back and forth. A lot of speculation, a lot of concern, a lot of worry. All this week, and rightly so. But I'm precious little communication, whether it's from the union or, as you said, the ministers within government. So why they're letting it fester and just play along like this without just somebody just giving us the rights of it, that either means they don't want to speak to it or they just haven't had the time, although we've had 2 or 3 days here. And as I said...
Yeah, not to cut you off now, but I'm getting the feeling that they basically don't want to speak on it because, like you said, you know what I mean? To me, I can't see anyone that got basically a common sense that would basically see this as not being wrong, And I'm not against the mechanics or the operators getting this, They deserve it, But basically, we can't be left behind because basically, as a pay scales goes, which government redone this, like you said, a few years back with the JES, Job Evaluation System, they basically said, you know what I mean, like always for the 25 years I've been with government as an electrician now, the operators basically were on a pay scale of 2 below us. They are now getting almost $5 an hour more than me as a journeyman electrician,
Yeah, look, I got you loud and clear, and only because of the time on the clock. We got this issue out there. And again, I think Jerry Earl is traveling. We've put in a request for him, and hopefully we can get him here today and just kind of shed some light on this and at least give us an idea that the union is aware, the leadership is aware, and they're going to bat for you. I got to get off to the break, but I appreciate the call.
Okay. Good enough. Well, I got another couple of issues. I'll call on another time.
Yes, absolutely. We got all next week and from there on in. So, but we'll, one at a time might be best, just because that's what they would. Of course, let's clear up one before we get to the other. But I understand. I can hear it through the phone. So keep me posted if you hear anything. But if we get Jerry on here, we'll get an explanation.
I definitely will, sir. Appreciate the call, and thank you very much, Brian.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go right to line number 5 and welcome the president of the Canadian Women's Foundation, of course, Mitzi Hunter. You're on the air.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Brian. Thanks for having me on this important topic.
Absolutely. This cannot be discussed enough. Needs to be kept top of mind for everyone, because unfortunately it's becoming more and more top of mind every day.
It is, and you know, the Canadian Women's Foundation welcomes Newfoundland and Labrador's declaration of gender-based violence as an epidemic in the province, and it's a critical step forward in the actions that are needed to prevent and really get rid of this effect that it's having on all of society.
It is nothing short of a scourge, and nothing short of, as we know, an epidemic. And I'm not sure how you're aware of this. You may or may not be, but we had a very serious, a man has been charged with murder just the same day that the declaration was made. There was an incident in Shehechee, Labrador, and a man now is charged with murder of his partner. And this is on the same day that the declaration of gender-based violence was made as an epidemic. I mean, I don't know what to make of that. For me, it just underlines the problem, obviously, and how frequently it happens. I mean, this unfortunately could happen any day of the week, and we know it. And I don't know, what does to you declaring it as such mean? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to, extend my condolences to the victims and the family and friends and coworkers surrounding that incident.
Mm-hmm.
It is just devastating on a community when that happens. And unfortunately, it happens in Canada far more than one realizes. Every 48 hours in Canada, a woman or girl is killed, and we have to do something. So I really want to recognize the leadership of Minister Layla Evans, along with the advocates, the organizers, survivors, and allies who made this declaration possible. Declarations are important because it mobilizes the resources and the actions that are needed. So even just putting together that 12-person task force, half of that committee is going to be people who have lived experience and who are survivors of violence. And so their voices will matter in the actions that will come out of that report coming due in the fall, which is pretty a quick turnaround for that kind of work. And also the public awareness campaign that will be happening in Newfoundland and Labrador this summer is also important because it gives people the space to talk about this abuse. It is not something that we should be silent about. We should be talking about it and knowing that this is not okay in our society. So these are important actions. We know from our research at the Canadian Women's Foundation that 2/3 of Canadians know someone who has experienced violence and abuse in their life. So this is prevalent, and we need to be talking about it and taking action, which is what this task force and this declaration of declaring it an epidemic in the province will do.
Yeah, I'm with you. It is an urgent matter and deserves urgent attention. But I'm with you on the quick turnaround. In my thoughts, I think that this shouldn't be rushed, and I don't want to say it's going to be rushed. It just on the surface, knowing the way things work, and you get the task force together, and this kind of work seems to need a real good. If we're going to put this task force in place, let's not rush it. I think, as you said, you have people with lived experience on this particular task force who are going to want the time to be able to make sure that everything they went through is reflected in all the work they do. There's just so many tentacles and so many people involved, and so I'm not going to prejudge it, but I'm with you on the turnaround. I think it should be a more concerted deep dive that brings out whatever results it needs. I mean, just knowing the way government works sometimes, and I know it's sort of independent of government, but it's still a government task force. So that's my only concern. It's necessary, and as you said, the discussion is almost more so.
Yes, And this is the 5th province in Canada that has declared, right? So Newfoundland is joining British Columbia, Ontario, and New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia. So this signals that gender-based violence is a national crisis. And so it is so important that, there's 2 provinces in Atlantic Canada that have now declared an epidemic and a crisis. So these actions are important. We need to believe survivors. We need to listen when someone puts up their hand and says that they need help.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure what the issue would be with the other provinces, and I don't want to judge. I don't know, but you would certainly think it would be a no-brainer that they join this, if you will, coalition of provinces, if you want, because again, strength in numbers, strength in provinces. Once it's a cross-country endeavor, it's just going to make it. I don't know, want to use the word successful, but certainly more effective. Hopefully, into getting to our better outcomes.
Yeah, and from the work we do at the Canadian Women's Foundation, what we found is that since the during and since the pandemic, the femicides, the killing of women just because they're women, has spiked. It's gone way up, and it has not come back down. And so that's why we have to mobilize this kind of action and coordinate efforts, because it's not something we can allow to take root in society, and we have to provide the supports along the way for those who are experiencing that right now.
Mitzi, I do appreciate the call today. It's a busy one here on our show, but this was so important to get in there and make sure that we add the Canadian Women's Foundation's position and voice to this. So I do thank you for your time today.
I thank you, and I just want to remind your listeners, because I know everyone's listening. If you know someone or someone needs more resources, you can go on our website, CanadianWomen.org, and there's a button there, Get Help, and a list of services in Newfoundland and Labrador is there. Absolutely.
Thank you for that as well.
Thank you.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go right to line number 4. And Sherry Tucker, employer with an engagement specialist with Avalon Employment. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for following up after the ECMAs last week. How was it?
It was far beyond what we could have expected, honestly. It was such a cool experience, and not to take away from that. But more than that, the response we got from folks for the things that we were offering there was just such validation as to why we were there. Of course, I think we all feel that imposter syndrome sometimes when we're doing something very, very cool.
Yeah.
And certainly, while I had paparazzi photographs and, whatnot happening throughout the week, I definitely felt that imposter syndrome. But we had so many folks connect with us to say, you need to be here. It was incredible to have sensory resources on the red carpet that made things a little more comfortable. Someone was able to do a second round as a result. There was one night at Flowcase, and for those that aren't familiar with Flowcase, it's the epitome of the ECMAs. It happens late at night. That's where the musicians all kind of jam with Flo Samson at the end of the night. I was sitting there one night, and someone came to sit next to me and said, "Oh my gosh, I know you're a safe space." They were autistic as well. And they were comfortable coming in and really taking in not just the conference bits, but the extra bits, the fun bits, knowing that if there was something they needed, a safe space, that they could do that. We had someone reach out to say a drummer, was autistic that they had worked with. And now that drummer was going to try to come back to the band, figuring things out through their connection with autism at work.
Sherry, just
all around super cool.
Yeah, just briefly, just for people who aren't aware, because we've gotten into this without probably I didn't provide enough background, but this was a panel, Networking for Neurodivergence, and it was part of the East Coast Music Awards last week. So one of the panels, of course, was navigating music industry events, and this is for people who normally probably wouldn't be a part of the awards, but for artist professionals in that space, neurodivergent individuals and the like. And again, we spoke about this last week, but I can't help but think that just the red carpet and all the experience. So that's the background, but just give me the takeaway.
So really, I want to say that the folks that were neurodivergent were always on the red carpet. They were always at the award show. It's just that this year they were accommodated a little bit different. And a lot of what we were doing was showing what we do with autism at work in real time, a tangible experience. We were showing how folks could be supported in these environments to be more successful, to be able to participate a little bit more. And that's what we do with autism at work. Across the board, across industries, we're working with all different industries and all different job seekers, and on both sides of things. So folks that are autistic that are looking to navigate their careers, whether they're underemployed or unemployed, we've got folks here to help in areas right across Newfoundland and Labrador and Atlantic Canada. And we also offer support to the employer as well, which was the approach that we had taken with this partnership with the ECMAs. They are an employer. They had staff working there, staff that were worked around the clock. And we got to, again, show on such a grand stage, to pardon the pun there, how someone might do things different as an employer and to be able to provide those supports. So with Autism at Work, we're doing things different because we've got difference in neurodiversities that are really our strengths as a team, and we get to show that in a big way by attending events like the ECMAs.
Yeah, and for the record, we have an employee here through your program, through the Avalon Employment Engagement Specialist of Neurodiverse Autism, Autism at Work.
Amazing!
Yes, we do. Shout out to PAT here, who works with us every day. He's great. Like
Amazing.
He and I have great, incredibly funny interactions all the time. Like we're always joking with each other. He's great to have around. It's a positive force around the office workplace. So I just wanted to give that shout out right there.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks for the shout out there.
No problem at all. So what's onward and upward from here, I guess? Is this going to be a regular thing?
They have certainly chatted with us and definitely want us back. There was just such a great response from folks saying that it made a difference for them in the way they were able to network, in the way they were able to attend things. So we're only going to go bigger and better, but that's a year away. We've got lots happening in between then. We're participating in so much over the summer with the community and with the employers. That there is so much happening. Next week is National Accessibility Week, so stay tuned. We've got lots going on. And I do want to give a shout out that if folks want to get involved, if you want to learn more as an employer or as an autistic person, visit our website, www.autismatwork.ca, and get involved and see how you might become a part of this force that's quickly growing.
Absolutely. Look, I couldn't thank you enough. I know I always say, please call back and let us know how it all went, and you did just that. So I thank you for that, Sherry Tucker.
Happy to chat with you again and have the opportunity to plug what I see as such a fantastic program.
Anytime, as I've said off the top, and we are trying to move toward it. It's not easy these days. There's a lot of, tough, hard news out there, but we are making our concerted effort to have good news on this program, and this is certainly in that category. So I appreciate it, and I thank you once more.
Amazing, Brian. We're always happy to share some good news.
Awesome. Thanks, Sherry.
Have a great day.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go right to line number 3. And caller, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have my phone charged up. Now I'm getting ready to go to talk. No?
That's a good thing.
The budget's already passed, and I've been calling about this issue so many times, and I've gone through it. It's the Medical Transportation Assistance Program. I need an answer. I need an answer to this question. He says it's 100% fully covered. Okay. How would you read this as I read it out to you? The annual deductible period runs from April the 1st to March 31st, resetting each year on April the 1st. That's the question I want to know. If it's 100% 100% covered, like for instance, now I have to go to town again on the 4th of June for medical reasons, surgery. Now, I luckily got in March the 18th before March 31st to get covered for my kilometers and to get covered for my 2-night stay at the hotel. Now, do this still apply to the annual deductible period now? Like, when it's passed, do you still have to use up your 500 kilometers? And like, if it works that way, it's no good for me. So if I got to go into the hotel now Wednesday night and stay for 2 nights, it's going to cost me $175 a night. So is the accommodation one eliminated? That's what I'm trying to get at.
Oh, okay. So for accommodations only. You're wondering if that's...
Yeah, but I recently called a few members of Parliament, and really, they don't know the meaning of the word deductible. That's from my few talking yesterday on the phone to a few people that's in the House of Parliament.
Are you talking about you're talking about House of Assembly, correct? Just to be clear. Yeah, local, provincially.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, our provincial one.
Yeah, no, just where you mentioned Parliament and House of Commons, I just want, for listeners who just want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing. Yeah, no, the House of Assembly. And you're right on deductible, as my unfavorite word, but sorry, go ahead.
No, so, okay. Now, so do according to this letter and according to what everybody's saying, so the annual deductible is not taken away? That means, okay, I got to start all over again, because after March 31st, the people still got to keep on going, and you got to pay up to $400 for hotel accommodations. So that's right. Still in. So how is he awarding this? If he says it's 100 payable, if he pays out of pocket, it's going to be 100% refundable. So.
Yeah, so, look, my understanding is, okay, so you read out that part, and your situation is going to be specific to you and not to others. There are, baseline rules, regulations for the MTAP program, no question. I'm loath to give you that direct answer because everybody's situation is different, and I'm not sure where are you living? Which part of the province if you don't mind me asking?
Well, to me, medical issues, if I have to go into St. John's and drive 300 kilometers to get surgery, so that's a medical condition.
Absolutely. No, I don't deny any of that. I'm just wondering what part of the province you live in.
Marystown.
Okay, you're in Marystown. Who's your MHA down there? Is that Paul? No, is it still Paul Pike?
Yeah, I think so. That's not what it could be. I shouldn't have to be explaining myself. Like I say, is that a yes or no?
Sorry, go ahead.
It still applies to someone living in Corner Brook. If he wants to go to Corner Brook and then drive all the way to St. John's.
I think it might be Jeff Dwyer, actually. Pretty sure. But look, yes, it is. It may be a yes or no answer. I don't know that for sure. Look, I do my best to stay up on every single issue in the show. I don't know it all, and I will openly admit that on any occasion. So I'm not going to pretend I know exactly your specific situation on this particular issue. Just because it's specific to you, and there may very well be one or two conditions or circumstances that you have that others might not have that could make my answer wrong. So I don't want to go there. My only suggestion on this, because it is a bit of a tangly situation, they just made changes to it with the new government. I don't have it right in front of me specific to your situation. I don't have your letter either. My best advice to you in this case, because I don't want to give you any erroneous information, is to contact your MHA. He will have a specific direct answer, and you can give him more personal information than you should give to me on the open line, in public like this. It's a fair question, and the issue itself is important to raise on your part to get clarification, because I'll bet dollars to donuts you're not alone in that confusion or uncertainty as to whether or not it carries over, whether it's 100% deductible. I don't want to say right off the top of my head because I know this one's in the weeds a bit, and if I misspeak, I'll regret it, and I'm sure I'll hear from all the callers. And it's not a brush off. I would really suggest, and I'm pretty sure it is Jeff Dwyer, but I would suggest that you contact your MHA on this one, because you can give him a lot more personal information than you should hear, and he'll be able to tell you 100%. But you're right, the first stop is always here at Open Line, because we can at least put this issue out there that you're having, and I'm sure other people are nodding along with it. And once you get an answer to your specific situation, it might not be the same for someone else,
Oh, I've already went through the process. I had to spend up to $350 at going to medical. But once I got the $400 paid,
right,
that's when he pays out that extra $1. That's when he pays out.
After you go over, yeah.
So yeah. If I heard on your preamp. So if you don't have the right one, if you're going to be talking to her, answer that. Ask her to answer that question.
You got it.
The leader.
Yep, I will, absolutely. Yeah, I put that question to her. Have you, I'm sorry, you just mentioned that you've gone through the process. Have you already, contacted an MHA or because that's their job?
No, I've already went through the process of medical transportation. I've already had claims put in, but once you spend up to $400 in hotel out of your own pocket, then that's when the medical transportation kicks in.
Right.
But then we're trying. Why should the deductible period keep on running out after a year's out?
It's a good question, and again, I don't want to jump on the yes or no here because I'd be speaking out of turn. Again, I would just suggest, either the MHA. Now, if I get the minister or anyone else with government, I will put the question directly to them. I can't call them while I'm on the show, but I will definitely put the question to them. We do have a request, as I mentioned, and as you acknowledged, into the health minister. She's obviously got her hands full today. She's headed to Labrador to Shahajit to deal with that horrific circumstance there, as I mentioned earlier. But I would just for a yes or no, for your specific circumstance, I know you're already in the system and you mentioned what you did, but to get an answer to your question, I would definitely go to your MHA, and I can give you his number and an email if you like.
Okay, give me his number.
Sure. It's 709, of course, 279 2912.
2912, yeah.
That's the constituency office. Someone there will answer. Probably, maybe not him, because he's probably back and forth, obviously. MHA's busy people. Could be at the house. And in the meantime, his email is MHA Dwyer. So that's MHAJEFFDWYER at assembly.nl.ca.
Well, I just want to end up this call by saying that I don't give up on things. I'll get the answer if it's between now and next month or 2 months. I will find an answer.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
And welcome back. Right to line number 4. And Lou, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Cullen. How are you this morning?
I'm good, sir. You have an event coming up.
Well, we do, yes. In June, Monday at 1 o'clock in front of the Health Science. It's going to be on the street there. I know there's no parking, but we're going to do what we can. So I would like to get the word out there for anyone who wanted to take part in that rally to be there.
And what's the rally all about, Lou?
Well, it's about the doctor shortage and the long wait periods in hospital to see somebody. It's an emergency. You can wait for hours and hours and hours and probably not see anybody. So we just want to bring attention to this, let the government know that we need something done about this. It's gone on much too far.
Yeah, there's so much news, it can get lost in the shuffle, although we all know it's a big issue. It's always simmering, and it should be on the front burner, but sometimes moves to the back burner with all the other news. So give me one more time. So this is this Monday coming, correct?
It's going to be Monday at 1 o'clock. It's going to be in front of the Health Science Center there, and we're also going to plan the second one for sometime later on the summer. So we would like to see some of the news crowd there. We will welcome VOCM there and CBC and NTV. Mm-hmm. We need to get this message out there. There's people dying. There's people dying to see a doctor. Now, also, I must add that I have doctors that I've talked to that's ready to come to Newfoundland. I know there's lots of red tape to go through. But if the government is done hiring, there's no point of going any further with it.
Absolutely, Lou. And listen, I can assure you we'll be there. That's for sure. And I'll bet you dollars to donuts the rest of the media will be there too. So 1 o'clock outside the Health Sciences on Monday. And all these issues you're telling me about here now, I'm sure you'll make them all front and center to the media on Monday, correct?
Oh, definitely, sir. Definitely.
Okay.
The more we can get there, the better. The more we need all we can get.
You got it.
Got to get this word out there. I mean, I've contacted some people in the government. Nobody have got back to me.
Well,
seems like you don't want to hear the story, right?
Yeah, and there are a lot of stories out there. Lou, I got to get off to the next caller, but we got the event, and we'll see you Monday.
Thank you very much, sir.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line with Brian Callahan.
Right to line number 4, and Mount Pearl Councillor Jim Locke, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Great, sir. How are you on this Friday?
Well, you know what? It's hard to complain on a Friday.
We could, but don't do any good, do it.
There you go.
Yeah. How's that fog? I can't see across Kenmount Road right now. I literally cannot.
Well, I'd like to say it's always sunny in Mount Pearl, but on this day, we do have a bit of cloud cover as well, Brian.
Okay, well, hopefully short-lived. Jim, you know, we've got a big emphasis now. We're trying to put on the show, you know, good news and that sort of thing. This certainly falls into that category. Bit of World Cup fever going on?
Absolutely. I just heard it in your news broadcast, Brian, that Mount Pearl is proud to say that we're hosting one of the Canada Celebrates events. Mount Pearl was one of 34 communities across Canada to help promote and build up the energy for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So we have an event this Monday down at our Team Guju complex off Smallwood Drive here in Mount Pearl, starting at 4:30, running from 4:30, right on to later in the evening. And it's going to be a fun-packed event. It's inclusionary, it's accessible. And we're just encouraging all of our residents and indeed our friends in our neighboring municipalities to come and join in the celebration.
Sounds good. Look, it's a good time had by all, and especially with the lead up to the World Cup. It's been a little bit tempered because there's so much going on, and then all the talk about the cost and the news has sort of watered down some of the excitement only because of the expense and some controversy around tickets. But shag that. Let's talk sport. Let's just focus on the sports. This is a once in a lifetime chance for a lot of people, especially the Canadian team. When the next time is they'll ever get to play a World Cup game in Canada, who knows? But fantastic. Are you a big follower yourself of football?
I'm not a big follower of football, but my granddaughter now has got a strong passion for soccer, and she's a member of the Mount Pearl Soccer Association, and of course they're going to be involved in this great event on Monday. I know our Mount Pearl Soccer Association has over 1,500 athletes across all the programs. So they're going to be involved in this on Monday evening. You talked about the cost of the tickets for the World Cup events. The beauty of this event, Brian, is that it's free.
Exactly.
There's no admission to this event in the city of Mount Pearl. On Monday, starting at 4:30, we got great musical talent there with Carla Pilgrim, Jackie Sullivan, the Salt Beef Junkies, and then Rum Ragged. They're providing musical entertainment right up until 10:15 in the evening. And then at 10:30, we're having a live stream of a friendly match against Canada's men's team versus Uzbekistan. So we'll have a big screen down here at our Team Guju complex, and that'll be live streamed. There's also going to be a beer tent down there for those who'd like to engage in that. There's some simulated activities. Come down. We're inviting people to come down and show their skills for dribbling and who's got the hardest shot and the most accurate shot and all that sort of stuff. So it aims to be a great event here in the city of Mount Pearl. So I just wanted to call in and build the fever, because I was just reading some stats, and the last World Cup, they estimated that 5 billion viewers across the globe. So this is truly a global event, and we are delighted in the city of Mount Pearl that we are part of that global event. And again, we're just encouraging people to come out, get a part of the action, get a part of the fever, and come out and celebrate the 2026 FIFA World Cup here in the city of Mount Pearl.
Yep, and with Canada being front and center. Is how much of this will be held indoors or outdoors? Because I don't want to pour any water on it, pun intended. But,
no.
There is the forecast is not looking all that good, to be perfectly blunt.
Well, speaking with our director just last evening, the forecast has changed a little bit. So it is an outdoor event,
okay.
And fingers crossed, and maybe we can ask on you, Brian, to talk to the weather gods and make sure that the rain holds off for us.
I don't know what kind of pull I have there, but I will do my best.
Great.
Jim, thanks a lot.
Brian, listen.
Yep.
I appreciate the time. Have a great weekend.
Anytime. Same to you. Thanks. Good luck with this on Monday.
Thank you. All the best.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
go right to line number 2. And caller, you're on the air.
Yes, I called the day before yesterday about the flower situation over in the Mount Patricia Cemetery. You asked me to call back with follow-up after the AGM meeting that was held last night.
Yes, this is the whole issue around artificial flowers and new rules for the cemetery. Go right ahead. I appreciate you calling back, by the way.
Yeah, I've already sent 3 pictures to your director there in regards to what was passed out to the people who showed up last night. About 7 people got up to speak. Strategically, the one lone person who was for the flowers was placed last. And the picture of the headstone that I sent, it was her grandparents' headstone. But when you look on the sides of the headstone, there's no vases there, so she had flowers planted there,
right?
To show people how flowers could be planted. That's fine if there's no vases. If there's vases, there should be an option whether or not people want to plant real flowers. She did mention in her presentation how some graveyards are across Canada where they have good growing areas over on the west coast of Canada, and some military grave sites. Military grave sites do not use real flowers because it interferes with their mowing. Mm-hmm. I did research on it last night after I got home. And you are allowed to put either fresh or artificial flowers there, but once they start to look ratty, they're removed. There was a lot of suggestions made. There was a suggestion of a committee that could be broken into 2 groups to go in the beginning and the middle of the month and after special occasions like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Easter, or wherever, to help clean up. Volunteers. There was a letter presented at the end of the meeting from a florist in Corner Brook in favor of the artificial flowers. I did suggest in my presentation that you can buy biodegradable flowers. The foams are plant-based because you can't put the flowers in unless you have a piece of the foam to go in there. So you can buy plant-based foams. And at the end of the meeting, we were asked, at the end of our part of the meeting, we were asked to leave. But the last person, who apparently was a former board member, and for the removal of the artificial flowers, was for some reason allowed to have another 5 or 10 extra minutes behind closed doors. So anyway, we don't know what's going to happen, but a lot of good ideas were made. A lady sitting behind me who was 81 years old brought me to tears because she said how she used to go down and do her son's grave, and now she's getting up in age and she's finding it harder and harder to go down there. She said, how am I going to keep real flowers growing there? And it's true. You can't get grass to grow over there at the best of times. My dad has been passed away for 52 years. Over my lifetime, I'm 61. I've watched my mom drag sod and seed and whatever else. You got to be there to babysit it every day. And since my mom passed, it's been years trying to get the grass to grow in good on top of her. Yeah. The winds are high there. The seed is blown all over the place once it's dried, or the crows are coming to eat it. So, how can, in the name of God, can you get flowers to grow over there? Not only that, but in the papers I texted this morning, you're only allowed certain flowers, and you have to get permission to plant them.
Yeah, each graveyard is going to look. It's getting different, and graveyards are evolving, to say the least. Whether it's the lack of urban space, it's the environmental concerns. I've seen lots of stories about the shift to green burials, like natural decomposition, that sort of thing. So, the mindsets are changing, the rules are changing, and only because I'm right up to the break. I will say this as a summary for your call, and I do appreciate you. I always say, please call back and let me know what happened. I'm glad to see that you got the time that you needed to make your presentation and that you were heard. And more importantly, these committees that you said that'll work side by side and hand in hand on a regular basis. That is the best news coming out of this. Communication, no blindsiding, at least know what's happening and have some input into those decisions. That's the best you can hope for in the initial swath, if you will. Would you agree?
Well, we were willing to extend the olive branch to work with the board to set up our committee, but whether or not that branch was accepted, I don't know. It was anyway. It was an interesting evening. So, but it was extended that we were willing to volunteer our time and work with the board to keep the cemetery looking as it should, as any cemetery should.
That's the way we want to keep it. Look, it's the most sacred of places, right? Our loved ones. And I know, as you said, I know families that go there on a regular basis. My mom, visits the cemetery here is Holy Sepulchre on a regular basis. And people go in to keep the upkeep of the sites and all that sort of thing, of course, and rightly so. And any decisions that are made around that should be, well communicated to anyone who has any connection to the cemetery. I appreciate the call, caller. Just keep me posted on all in the events that surround that cemetery and other people too. Other cemeteries are changing. There's all kinds of rules changing on a regular basis. So.
Okay, thank you for your time. And for the record, I'm pulled over here in Pasadena, so we still have a little bit of snow on the slopes there, and we got our share of RDF out here too.
Okay, thanks for that update. Snow on the slopes. There you go.
Okay, thank you.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number 2, and Tina, you're on the air.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay for this Friday. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm actually on a break. I'm teaching a suicide intervention workshop, but I wanted to call. First-time caller to your show, Brian. And,
well, I appreciate you making time for us. And, of course, this goes to the heart of Richard's Legacy Foundation, correct?
It sure does. It sure does. We have a fundraiser on Sunday. It's called Leave the Light On. And it was organized by one of the moms from the support group that I have facilitated here in St. John's for the last 22 years. That support group has been running.
Yeah, this
and
goes...
I'm really proud.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. You go ahead.
No, I was going to say, for people, and I know I've, as a journalist, we've crossed paths in the past, and this goes back, of course, to the loss of your son. Is that correct? To suicide in 1995.
That's correct. I lost my son Richard, thus Richard's Legacy Foundation. That was set up in his honor.
Yes.
To suicide. Yeah, and it's.
To which, of course, I'm so sorry, Stina. I cannot imagine anyone who has to go through this and the strength you've shown in the aftermath. So that's going to be the extent of my interruption. Please go ahead with your event as well.
That's okay, Brian. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we're having a fundraiser. One of the moms from the support group organized it. This is the second annual. Patsy Goss is the name of the mom, and she has worked really, really hard along with other people to get this organized. It's going to be on Sunday at the Plaza Bowl at 2 p.m. till 5, I believe.
That's over on Ropewell, correct?
And there's going to be, there's 50-50 draws. There's 2 baskets, one $375. The other one's a couple $100. There's going to be performers, entertainment. Max Stringer and friends are going to be there. Terry Riley. Ava Kay is going to do a book reading. She talks about grief. So it's all in all a good, and I think there's free pizza. I think, I'm not sure. But it's a good time. You can bowl if you want. There's a silent auction, and all of the funds are being raised for Richard's legacy alongside with Canadian Mental Health Association, Newfoundland and Labrador, to facilitate assist workshops, and that's applied suicide intervention skills training. 2-day workshop. Yeah, and it's so that's what the fundraiser is for, and they've done a lot of work on it, and I'd really love to see people come out and support it.
Yeah, and so important. And so important for people of like mind who've been through this situation just to get together. And as you said, a bit of bowling, a bit of pizza, a bit of music, but just to be around each other. People are going through these things. We need the support. We need the mutual support, and people to share their stories and know you're not alone, and work so hard to assist others and support others who may be in these similar, just very difficult, hard situations in life.
100%. The greatest myth out there is that talking about suicide causes suicide. That is so terribly wrong. It's exactly the opposite. Talking about suicide saves lives. People, like you say, they feel alone and they're very isolated. When they lose somebody to suicide, it's life-changing. It's incredibly devastating. And you need to be with others who understand that, and you can talk with them and they get it. Like, people understand, so you come together. Like the support group that we have every Monday night. Honest to God, it's like a family.
Yeah.
Like, it's really a close family, a family that doesn't have any arguments.
Yeah, no,
but
because
they're wonderful people.
Yeah, because everybody has a very important, stated, and obvious goal, and that is to support each other, and support those who. Is there any lonelier, unhelpful, whatever you want to call it, that there's a lack of help out there? It's a lonely feeling that people can have when they're facing this, when they're going through it, if the loss of a loved one or anyone that's close to them, and just getting together with others. I'm going to repeat myself, but I just find these events are so important, as you said. It's got to be spoken about. It can't be left in the shadows anymore.
That's exactly right. The more we speak about it, the more we break down that stigma and shame associated with suicide. My purpose is to make talking about suicide as comfortable as sitting at the dinner table and saying, pass the salt.
Yeah, and
that's how, it should be right there.
And it's a big difference between talking about it and that sort of thing, and as you said, what is it, stigmatizing? Like, as you said, it needs to be discussed as opposed to not being discussed. But it's just so important that that discussion continues to have, because when we don't discuss it, it just it festers, no question.
It sure does. That dis-ease, it turns into disease, and the body keeps count. And I to tell you that that's the truth. Yep. I'm going to be 74 this year, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to do this till the day I drop. But you learn that you need to get that out. You need to talk about it. Mm-hmm. You will get sick if you don't, and I'm very serious about that.
Absolutely,
but
Tina.
I really do appreciate you taking my call. I got to get back. The break is over.
And I'm almost up to mine too, so there you go.
Yeah, that works out well. You take good care, and welcome, and I'll be talking to you again. No worries.
Absolutely. And what time again at Plaza Bowl? This Sunday, is it?
Yeah, this Sunday, the 31st, and it's at 2 p.m.
There you go. Thanks again, Tina. Take care. Good luck with this.
Thank you, Brian. Take care.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Susan Guiney, you're on the air.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Good. Let's try take two.
Yes. I was out and about because I'm off on a sick day today, so that's why I was able to call you, and I had to pop out and get some medication. So I'm stopped now.
Sure.
I still have you on speakerphone because I have to look at the poster in case you ask me any questions and I don't remember.
Not at all. So this is, of course, about the Guiney Push-Up Challenge, the Long Walk / Guiney Push-Up Challenge for mental health awareness. I've seen this before, and I've heard it like sort of ships passing in the night. I hear a little bit about this and that and the other thing. And I know you've been on this program promoting this over so many times in conjunction with the Rural Counselling Centre and Gathering Place and all the rest of it. Can you just give our listeners a little background and the genesis of it?
Well, we started this fundraiser back in 2015 when both of our girls, 4 days apart, had a medical crisis where they ended up in the hospital because of attempted suicide. And thankfully, we were able to go to them and work with them and get them back on the right track. They still deal with mental health issues and depression, anxiety, and borderline personality disorder. And we started doing this fight for them because we were really unaware of how bad it was because we didn't talk about it. And that's the most important thing to do, is to talk about it. Talking is the best way you can donate to this, or donate your voice, tell your story. Bill started walking and doing push-ups on different things every year, and this is his 11th year. And in a few of his walks, he had people coming up to him that he'd never met before and telling their stories. So it was a way to walk and talk and open up the airway for people to talk about their mental health.
It's critical. Yeah.
I think it's a very good thing to do.
It's critical. We've had this discussion on the show earlier, and we need to keep discussing it.
Tina, I heard Tina.
Yeah, and it was all about that. I mean, not in the shadows. Look, I have some familiarity with your situation. I mean, not one but two daughters. I mean, people may have, when they heard that for the first time, then may not have thought they heard what they heard. We all know families. You have a situation in your family, but two children, both sort of simultaneously dealing with mental health dilemmas that you weren't aware of. I mean, this was very much in silence, was it not?
Well, we knew that they dealt with anxiety and things like that, but we didn't know it was gone, like it was that far into their system, that they both broke down 4 days apart. And like one was out west, and I had to fly out to her, and Bill stayed with our youngest, and we helped them get through it, and we'll continue helping and fighting for them and more people like them. And I mean, mental health is in all of us. It's a thing that everybody has to deal with, and not everybody deals with the same conditions as they do, but it's all there. Everybody has different things that cause stress in their lives. Stress is one of the biggest causes for depression and anxiety, whether it be money issues, the loss of somebody, or even like kids that are growing up and they're not aware of their sexuality, and they have problems with that, and they don't want to talk about it because they don't want to have that stigmatism there towards that. And we just think that it's an opportunity for everybody, anybody, to walk, talk, and we are doing this on Father's Day, and it's also Indigenous Day, and it's the longest day of the year. That's why it's called the Long Walk. And it's on June 21st, and it's the day after the Ride for Dad. Yeah, the Ride for Dad. Right. And for every, he's going to walk 70 kilometers, and for every...
He being Bill?
Yeah, he's going to do 10 push-ups for every kilometer that he walks. So we're hoping to reach out to as many people as we can. And VOCM has always promoted us, and Patty Daly has been a big supporter of us for the past years. Like, I've talked to him so many times, and I think it's nice that we work together to try and make a difference. And the proceeds go to RUA counseling and the Gathering Place. And come on out and talk, walk, donate, do whatever you can to help us with our big year. This is the 11th year, and I actually am looking forward to this year. I have the day off to go along with Bill, and I'm not saying I want to walk all day, but
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to keep him company along the road. So.
Yeah, maybe give him a little lift on some of the push-ups. Who knows?
Yeah, I'll play some rocky music and get him motivated, and he can just drive for it.
Yeah, sit on his back. Just give him, make him really work for it.
No, I mean, sitting on his back, he wouldn't get very far.
Susan, look, you make a good point. We have to work together on this. You just said that. And another important point that you made that I wasn't lost on me is that we all have some level of, for lack of a better word, I'll call it offness. And some are stronger of will and mind than others when they come up against these pressures, whether it's the pressures of money, as you said, or the pressures of relationships, or the everyday pressures of work, the everyday pressures of there's just so much that everybody is dealing with, and some deal with it better than others. And for some, as you said, the stress can evolve, can accelerate into anxiety and then into a real condition. And there's a level of self-awareness that we hope people can have to know when they need help, and unfortunately, when they realize that, there's a stigma still surrounding it, and some people, importantly, will reach out and others won't. And the ones who suffer in silence, who don't have support, really are on a dark road.
Yes, and one of the message and motivation things we have on the posters, we decided to call it push. And my husband was talking to a friend of his, and he said, push. Oh, yeah. He said, that's good. Pray until something happens.
That's good.
So we ask that we use this and refer to him when we say it. And for anybody that's out there that, want this religious effect to help them or praying for something to happen, this is good. We're there to support them. We want to reach out to as many people as we can, all ages. Come on out. I hope to see you there, Brian.
June 21st. If I can do it, it's going to be a busy week for me. I have some international travel around that time. So I'm hoping, look, I know the Ride for Dad. I'm always a supporter of that. I've been there at the starting line at Newfoundland Power Building every year. And I think you said that's the same weekend, isn't it?
It's the day that
day
their
before.
ride is the day before. So
right.
We're hoping to reach out to some of them too, and maybe they'd want to continue their journey and walk with Bill.
Yeah.
Maybe they won't be able to after the ride. But
well, the ride should relax them a bit and then get the legs, even out the balance of exercise. Riding is one thing, but there's nothing like a good brisk walk or a good jog to get the blood flowing, and that's very important too to the brain. So
yeah.
A healthy brain can also be an asset, when you're dealing with these things. Susan, I wish you nothing but the best with all of this. June 21st, 2026. Good luck with.
And a big shout out to Bill Garney. Thank you for all your efforts this past 11 years, and thanks everybody for all their support, and together we can make a difference. And
to you as well, too, for all that work in supporting Bill. So, Susan, thanks a lot. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Go to line number 4, and Clyde, you're on the air. We'll try to get Susan back. Clyde, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Brian. You're a new host there. I've been calling in for over 20 years, and I live on this little community called Rock Harbor, and after a while of seeing the way the houses have been going, I couldn't help but had to just call in and tell them that please try to get along. We have lots of issues here in the province. I've lost my doctor now the last year. I haven't got a doctor there, and they go to work then, Brian, and in the springtime they lay off some of the staff and close down some of the Department of Highways, and so far there's nothing being done with the roads in the bad spots. Like I told your previous host, that there's a way of doing it. You can cut these places out and at least make it a bit safer and more passable for the people, and save any vehicle too, right?
Absolutely. How long have you been beating that drum, Clyde?
My sonny man, I assume that anything comes up, I don't know what's in me, but that's just the type of, I don't know, just bothers me so much that I got the phone in, just tell them that if me and you was working somewhere and we got on like that, I'd say there's a possibility we'd be sorry reprimanded anyway. I know they got a day off, but I mean, this is not good for the public to look at and the younger people that's coming up. I mean, what are we leaving? What kind of legacy is this going to be when you're not in there? I know you got to have opposition, yes, but the thing is, you got to do it right. I mean, me and you can talk all day and get along and come to the disagreement, but the thing is, there's two sides to every story, and I just want to make it short and say that I like phoning in, and I like VOCM accepting it. I do make a difference sometimes, Brian, and like I say, just tell them that, smarten up a bit more and try to get to the issues with our health care and our roads and all the other stuff. There's always issues every day, hey?
Couldn't agree more. Look, there's a level of, parry and thrust and discourse that the House of Assembly, is just, it's par for the course. But when it gets to a certain level and it bleeds into social media and then it bleeds into personal attacks and then potentially even fisticuffs, like a scrap behind the speaker's chair or whatever, and people are literally getting close to, confronting each other, that's when we got to rein it in, and we have to. And Paul Lane's been doing his best as a speaker to do that. So, and speaking of healthcare, we are fortunate enough. I see that the health minister, Lil Evans, is waiting on the line. So, did you want to wrap up and even a message for her before I take that call?
Well, like I said, I know they're trying their best. They comes into a situation like blame. I mean, sometimes that goes back to that, but I think it's time to give that up too and just try to work together there and get things worked out. I mean, here the public, we put there by the people, serve the people, and sometimes I think they don't even listen. A lot of times they're not listening to the people. I mean, we all go to the polls, we all put this person in to represent us, do the job. And when they're not doing the job right, they got to be taking the task, same as near you. If you're not doing yours right, and I'm not either. You know what I mean? So anyway, you have a safe day, and like I say, one little thing about, you said you like to hear happy stories. Well, I'm an advert the last 20 years, just taking videos and putting on the Facebook and stuff, and nice scenery and stuff, just nice. People's days.
Yep, no, I'm all over that. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, you take care, and be safe, and everybody have a good day, and hope for the best and prepare for the worst, and that's what we get, so that's what you say.
There you go. I'll take that positivity all day, Clyde. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, thank you.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Line number one, Woody French, long time no talk. You're on the air.
How you doing, Brian? Good morning.
I'm great.
To talk to you.
You too, as well. Been a little while.
I think the last time that you and I spoke was about the airline passengers' Bill of Rights, and
it absolutely was.
Things I'm going to have to get back at that again. I said at the time that I thought it was just words on paper.
You were right.
And lo and behold, that's what it wound up to be. So we'll have to get after that one. On another call, for sure.
Yeah, some of the sly tricks being pulled by some of the airlines, and that's all I'll say about that. But go right ahead.
Yeah, well, Brian, this morning I'm involved with the Canadian Peacekeepers Veterans Association, and we have a Newfoundland chapter here. And one of the things that we've been doing the last 3 years is going to the Bay car show in Bay Roberts. The purpose is we have a she's registered as a 1970 military Jeep. She's done up in camo, and she was an active vehicle with the Canadian Forces, and we have a United Nations flag that we fly. All of our members are have either been members of NATO or members of the United Nations on different missions. And we're certainly today dealing with some people that are going through a lot of trouble, especially our Afghan veterans. And we wanted to get out and try to meet some of these people that might be in other communities, and just have a chat with them and see if there's anything that we can help them with. And along with that, what we're trying to do, as well is to help the communities that we live in. And in this particular case, we're going to be collecting funds and food for the food bank. And I heard Dan Mateg on there talking about the situation we're in in these days. And certainly if we can help out people that need to use these facilities, it's a good way for us veterans to help out in our communities, and we do that in cooperation with the Bay Roberts Legion. So people are welcome to come out, have a look at the Jeep, ask us questions, get a picture taken in it, and bring an item for the food bank. And while the weather's not going to be that great, we're certainly hoping that people are going to come to the car show and have a chat with us.
Yep, absolutely. Would appreciate you bringing it to our attention again. I mean, I know this has been a regular occurrence. When is the actual car show again?
It's tomorrow and Sunday.
Okay, it's all weekend.
We'll be going over this afternoon with our Jeep and setting that up and getting ready for the opening ceremonies tomorrow morning. And it's certainly good. They've been really good to us. They've given us a spot in their show, and they certainly help out with the funds for the food bank as well. So it's really a win-win situation, and certainly gives veterans. Over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of light shone upon us as veterans in bringing home the unknown soldier, which I had the honor to be part of, and to look at the situation that we're in today, where we need people to be involved with the forces, so we can have this right that we have to be able to discuss things on the open line programs, and to be able to get our points out there without having to worry about somebody coming and knocking on our door. And I'm hoping that young people, or it seems anyhow from the recruiting, that our young people are connecting with the forces again, which certainly, as a veteran, makes us feel good to see that people are willing to protect this beautiful country that we have.
Feeling good is underrated these days, Woody. I mean, we need it, every little bit of it. So I'm all with you on that. And again, in the vein of good news, which we're really trying to push here on the show, and I'm going to beat that drum forever and a day, just to try to balance everything out. And this is part of that. So I really appreciate it. Good luck the weekend.
Well, thanks so much, Brian, and I'll let you know how we make out. Right now, we've collected over $2,000 for the food bank over in the Trinity area, and as you know, these people get $4 out of every dollar, which is certainly encouraging. And so thank you very much, and thank VOCM for the support that you've given to veterans over the many years, and we'll certainly keep in touch with you. Thanks again.
You're welcome, and thanks for joining us in partnership on it. It is our pleasure to do it, Woody. And let's have a chat about that airline Bill of Rights and what those airlines are up to these days sometime real soon.
Okay, thanks, Brian. All the best.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Boy, oh boy, do I have good news. And, I've been plugging it. We've been talking about it. We're going to make good news a massive part of this program. And you talk about good news. If you heard our caller earlier today, we had lost a lost dog, Louie, down in the Indian Meal Line, area, big, heavily wooded area. Anyway, without further ado, he's found. That is awesome. I just got an email saying that Louie has been found. And boy, I can't think of a better way to we're just near the end of the program on a Friday. You talk about good news. It was in the stars. So I love that. Louie's been found. So what else can I say? That is great news. Let's go to line number 1. And William, you're on the air.
Yeah, I went to the bank, and you get a little small loan for your little car, cheap on gas. And you was going to give it to me, but when you went through it, it come up that the collection agency owed from $3,000, but they wouldn't tell me where it's coming from. And I don't hold 5 cents. I owns everything I got. and they must have me mixed up with somebody else or something, and they wouldn't give me the loan because of it. I'm going to have to go get a lawyer to get to the bottom of it.
Okay, William, I got a question. So I ran into something like this 2 years ago. So they told you owe $3,000 somewhere, or once upon, or was on your credit report?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have an account with any of these, like Equifax or any of those organizations?
No.
Okay. So you can go on to these sites. You can call them, first of all. There's a toll-free number for any of these. Like there's 2 or 3 that the banks use on a regular basis. Dave, what's the other one I'm thinking of? Equifax and... TransUnion, that's the other one. TransUnion and Equifax are the 2 main ones, and they have credit reports on everybody who's ever taken out a loan or who's ever defaulted on a loan or whatever. They have a record that goes into the systems, of course, and they have a record of it. Now, I ran into that problem. They came up and they said there's something there from 25 years ago, which was an old car loan, which I paid off, never missed a payment. So you'd think that's going... positively on your credit report. Lo and behold, I went in for a small loan to get some work done on the vehicle because it was still in good shape. I just didn't want to go and have a new car payment. I love the fact that I didn't have a car payment because I paid it off. And they said, oh, yeah, no, that's still there. And it says you missed a payment. I said, what? Anyway, it was truly an error. It took a lot, I have to be honest with you, it took a lot of back and forth with them. The bank wouldn't do it for me, even though they were the ones who accessed it and said it was my fault, and I got to go and do all the work in order to get their loan. They knew it was a mistake, but they still wouldn't go to bat for me. And by the way, I ended up dumping that bank for that reason. I went to another bank, and I'm very happy I did. And there was no better feeling than walking into that bank when it was all settled and closing my account. And the efforts that they made to try to keep me, apologizing for the error long after. But look, this can happen to people. And the only thing I can tell you, and it's getting close to the end of the show today, and I want to follow up with you on this because it struck a nerve with me. This happens from time to time. They can be errors. You wouldn't even know what's going on. The banks know more about your money than we do. Than you do. But it's worth going to the bank first and saying, first of all, tell me what it is, show me where it is, the particular bank that turned you down.
They told me they couldn't tell me. They told me they can't find it. I said, you mean tell me you can't find when I was too credit bureau notice it? So I'm going to go to a lawyer next week.
Yep, and maybe that lawyer can help you. But if you go to one of these credit bureaus, and some of them you can get free, you can look at it for free because you might have had a breach of your of something personal, like whether it's the Power School stuff or any of that, a privacy breach. They give you one of the compensatory things they'll do is give you free access to your credit report. But you can go on one of those. It's Equifax or TransUnion, and if you do have a lawyer, they can probably help you look it up. But you can get a sign into that. You can look at your own credit. You can see everything you've had that's on their records to find out where the mistake is. Because you know if you defaulted or owed money.
I don't know. I mean, my son knows it, right? He said, Dad, you don't owe that. You don't owe the money. I said, no, I don't. I own everything I got.
Yeah. And it's frustrating as all and hell. Like, I mean, it's especially when we try so hard these days to get by, and your good work to keep a good, clean credit report is sullied by a mistake or something that shouldn't be there in the first place.
Yeah. Well, if I want a fridge, I can't go and get it. I can't even get a kitchen fridge. A kitchen fridge get back, right?
No, that's...
Because it got my credit card there, right?
That's not fit. It took me about a month, but, I didn't, break my back over it. It wasn't as urgent. I was more content just to see what would happen. But for you, I'm sure, all you need to do is bring in whatever you got. Your tax return is good and other identification. But anything you have... Once you get a look at that credit report, that's the key, because you can look down through then and make sure exactly where the mistake is, and then your lawyer can take it from there.
That's right, And I got to tell you about the dog. You had a missus on about the dog going around lapping the car. Right? I was listening to the missus.
Oh, missus was driving with it.
Same thing happened to me. I got 2 dogs, 2 babies, I call them. They're 4 years old, 2 beagles. And I put them in the truck, and I was on the way to our mail last year down to my summer house. And I let them run loose in the truck. But I had a French fry on the floor. It was a French fry on the floor by the gas pedal. And the dog only got down on the floor by the gas pedal. And I had to lock her up of trucks behind me, big truck behind me. I had to pull over right away. And he almost got the gas pedal. And I had to pull over right away and put her up in gear. And then I had to pick him up, put him on a seat. I was almost to Sobeys.
And then when I got in service, I chained it on. To the driver's side for he wouldn't get over. But he almost cost me the biggest kind of accident. He went for the French fry on the floor.
Boy, I'll tell you, that is food for thought. Excuse the pun. But that is food for thought for any drivers, and it's a great one, William, for this weekend, just going into the weekend, for drivers out there who love to have their dog in the vehicle. I tell you, I swear to God, and you must be referring to when I saw the Shih Tzu, I thought it was driving the car because that's all I could see. The woman was down, no offense, could have been a man, could have been a woman, but this was a woman. She was really down low in her seat. And all I could see was the dog halfway out the window, and it was an accident waiting to happen, right? Anyway.
Yes, that's right.
That's a good one.
I didn't know he was going to do that, right? And he got down on the floor, but the gas pump got the French fry, and he wouldn't get up. And I almost got an accident. I pulled her over right away, prompt gear, and picked him up. And I didn't think he was going to do that.
No, that's why they're supposed to be restrained. That's why that condition or that law is there. So, William, I thank you for that. That's a great one to keep in people's minds as we head into the weekend.
Yes.
Listen, thanks again. And by the way, when you get somebody to have a look at the credit report and you get to the bottom of it, if you do, and I hope you do, give us a shout back. Give us a shout back.
I will.
All right.
Okay,
thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Okay.
You have a good weekend.
You too. Thanks a lot, Bill. Okay. Perfect. Right on time. Drive safely. Arrive alive, everyone. VOCM cares.